You are listening to Hello Cupcake, It's Me, a podcast with your host, Michael Peterson.
Hey guys, Michael here with the Wednesday update. Today is August 10th, 2022, and how are you? If you haven't done so already, please hit like and subscribe and head on over to anchor.fm/Hello Cupcake It's Me to check out the podcast and go give the blog some love, www.hellocupcakeitsme.com. So, a little bit of a late start today on getting the Wednesday video up and going. It's already almost 1 p.m. Pacific time. And I had a ton of shit that I had to do today. I had back-to-back doctor's appointments, then I had to meet up with my sister for lunch, and then afterwards I had some other errands to run, and I'm just now getting home. Literally put some things away and sat down. I mean, I've been home less than 5 minutes. Like, that's how tight of a schedule this was. And I meant to do a, just like a kind of a quick update video, but here it is all together or whatever. So, man, it has been just busy the last couple of days. Saturday, I did an impromptu trip over to my sister's house. I usually go and hang out with her on Sundays, but Saturday I went and hung out with her. And me, her, and her boyfriend, we went and did some shopping and went to this burger place. Really small, hole-in-the-wall, like, burger place. Was unnecessarily expensive for the three of us. It came out to almost $70-something. And all we got... Me and her boyfriend, we got bacon double cheeseburger, or triple bacon double cheese, triple bacon cheeseburgers, and she got like a single cheeseburger, fries for all three of us, and a set of onion rings, 2 cherry lemonades, and a Dr. Pepper. And it came out to like $68 or whatever. I'm like, well, thank you for taking me out for lunch, guys. Did not expect it to be that expensive. It was good for what it was, but not for the price. Like, it was insane, the price point. But they like it. They swear by it. They want to go back to it. I'm like, psh. As long as you guys are picking up the tab, I will be there to have burgers with you. So yeah, that being said, we went out to lunch, and then we went to Goodwill, or not Goodwill, what's that store? Walmart and a few other places, and just had a really good time. By the time it was all said and done, though, I was, like, exhausted, and, I've noticed, and my sister pointed it out to me, and now I'm noticing it even more. I'm walking like this on, like, the outside of my feet instead of walking flat-footed, and for the longest time there, I was walking kind of flat-footed, but it's just been, like, within the last couple of weeks that I started walking on the outside of my feet, and it has been plain hell with my lower back, my hips, and my right knee. So one of the doctors that I went to this morning was my podiatrist, and he put a little wedge in my shoe to kind of straighten things out for me. He's like, Michael, this is just a thing to try to check out. If we need to readjust it, you know, we're going to go ahead and do so. So go ahead and make an appointment, come in a week or so, and we'll play around with it. I'll add some height to it because one leg is shorter than the other, and we'll just play around with it until we're back to getting you walking proper again. So that was pretty awesome. And I love my podiatrist because he's also diabetic, and so, like, foot care is his passion, especially in diabetic patients. So I always feel like really good, really positive whenever I leave there. And then we also bullshit and talk about like what treatment plans we're on and the latest for this or that kind of diabetic regimen and so on and so forth. So that was really good. Then I went and saw my diabetic doctor today, and he was like, I don't understand you. Like, the way that you manage your diabetes is off the charts, but it works for you. If this was somebody else, they would be dead or they would be in the hospital or whatever else. I don't understand you. I want to study you. I'm like, well, you know, it has to be working because you see that my A1C levels are great and that I don't have these ridiculously out of control blood sugars. He's like, I know, I just don't understand. Like, I keep you kind of in a special file. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, but he's like, I don't know if you're just lucky or if it's the fact that you have your youth still. I'm like, well, can you still call for being like 40, 41 youthful? And he's like, compared to me who's almost 60, yes, I can. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not going to argue with you or whatever. So, you know, it was just a really good visit, and we talked about like some of my hormone levels and trying to do some stuff to like help me with losing weight and things like that. I don't want to undergo a bariatric surgery or gastric bypass or any of that other shit. We've tried multiple different medications to try to produce and stimulate that hormone that tells you that you're full. And I got to do some research because I accidentally saw a specialist who is like renowned for this particular type of genotherapy. And when I say I accidentally saw this person, I went to this hospital and they were short-staffed that day. And so this like doctor came in and she's like, yeah, I'm actually the foremost person on this, but I can't talk to you about that right now because that's not what you're here for. But, you know, make an appointment and come back and see me or whatever. And I'm like, yes, most definitely, thank you. And I get out to the car and life happens and I have since forgotten her name, forgotten what she looks like. And I don't even know if she still works for the same healthcare clinic or what have you. So, got to do a little bit of research and see if I can find that doctor. And then last night was a trivia night, and unfortunately we lost to one of the newer bars, but, you know, it was still good. We really did try our best, and we had new players show up, which I was really excited for. I've wanted these people to show up for a while, and I was just really happy that they did. I want to get to know them a little bit better, and was just really happy. And then there was a new guy there that was playing just like really amazing music and just a really good down-to-earth dude. And yeah, had a good night last night. And then there's also been some like drama within the community that has really kind of hit close to home, and really has me kind of upset and worried about some of the people that's being affected by this drama. And you know, living in a very small town where everyone knows everyone, everyone's related to everyone, and everyone has fucked everyone. You know, there's usually 1 degree or less of separation between you and whoever. And that's what I mean by, like, hitting kind of close to home, because there's less than 1 degree and in one direction. So anyways, instead of trying to like beat around the bush and be metaphorical, I'm just gonna come out with it. So we have a YMCA here in my town, and at said YMCA there is a young trans woman who works there. Now, back in the day, this area used to be very open-armed, very loving, very caring, respectful, and embracing of everyone. Didn't matter if you were red or blue or whatever, it was fellowship and brotherhood. Over the last 10 years, shit has gotten really bad here in my town, and there's a lot more bigotry, there's a lot more hatred, and there's a lot more fuck you, I have money, so you're going to do what I want you to do type of mentality. And a lot more Karens, it seems. And this young trans woman is in the midst of a scandal. Not on her part, like she has trespassed upon anyone, but this Karen person went out of her way to make this big hubbubaloo of her working in the women's locker room as an attendant and just, cleaning up as you do throughout the day. Comes out of the shower fully naked, yelling at this trans woman to get out of there, that she's a pervert and that she's just a man in a woman's swimsuit ogling the children and the other women who are in there, and just made this big kerfluffle about it. And then went as far as to try to press charges on the YMCA, get police activity and involvement against the trans woman, and and just the whole rigmarole of all that stuff. And then went and boo-hooed about it to the local newspaper. The local newspaper didn't post anything about it because in her letter to the editor, she had wrote about how this was a sexual perversion and that it was a man's eyes being censored by undercover man's eyes in a woman's changing room, and all these horrible bigoted things. And then went as far as to take it to social media and put out this person's name and address, and started holding protests at the YMCA. And there's this free press thing here in my town that is very, very Republican, and very they want to seem like they're woke, and they want to seem like they are reporting on news that isn't being covered by anyone else, and taking situations and kind of gaslighting it and spinning it as censorship. Oh, well, so-and-so's being censored, so we're going to post the real story. And then they post the watered down, diluted one side of the story without looking at the full scope of the story. And so I have a lot of trans friends, and I have trans family members. So that's where it hits close to me. And like I was saying earlier, 1 degree of separation and no degree of separation, that's it's really difficult for me. I have friends who I went to school with that are trans. I have friends in my everyday life that are trans. I have, like I said, family members who are trans, and I've worked with trans people, and there are those times where bisexuality may come into the correlation of a transgendered person, But 9 times out of 10, if a naturally born biological man is transgendered and becomes a female, typically her being a female is not looking at other females in a sexual regard. She is typically looking at men in a sexual regard, like a straight, naturally born cis woman would be looking at a man. Again, sexuality is a spectrum, and lots of different things encompassing it or whatever. There are those times where transgendered people are attracted to both sexes. They just have sexual reassignment or sexual affirming operations done so that they feel more like the person that they feel that they are supposed to be. Now, regardless if you agree with transgenderism or whatever, I don't care. You know, this is not a debate forum, and this is not a video that is up for debate. Right, wrong, or indifferent, or however you feel about it. You know, I support the LGBT community. And I have always supported the LGBTQ community. And I always forget to add the Q a lot of times, but, you know, for the majority of the part, we'll just say, you know, I support the gay and lesbian transgender community. I supported it long before I knew my friends were transgendered. I supported it long before I knew that my family members were transgendered. I support people living their best life, and that's it. So, I posted on those forums where I saw that they were talking about this transgendered young lady in a very negative manner. And I didn't come out of pocket and like accusatory or derogatory language or anything. I just simply stated for centuries we have shared living, working, and public and private spaces with men and women who are LGBTQ, and that it's only been in recent years that transgenderism has been a bad thing. I'm like, you know, you don't know if the person you're talking to is trans or part of the LGBTQ community. Your very own family and children could be part of the LGBT community and never know because they're scared to tell you anything because of how they've heard you talk about gays, lesbians, and transsexual or transgenders, and like the negative stereotyping and the like negative connotations about it and like stuff like that. So a lot of people are like, oh, my kids would never be gay. You can't say that. You don't know who your children are until they introduce themselves to you. And that's part of what is like so prominent in the LGBT community, is that you have people feeling like they can't talk to their loved ones, or that they are somehow less than because of what their parents think, about what their religion says. You know, homosexuality and whatever was never mentioned in the Bible until like the late 40s, mid 50s. Was it then translated into homosexuality? And, you know, it's... if you choose a religion over your family members, there's something wrong with that religion. Because if you look at it in this in the sense of God is omnipresent and infallible and is the creator of all things, then you being introduced into the LGBT community, that is a stepping stone or a lesson that you are to learn. If you are given an LGBTQ child, that is your lesson, that is your cross to bear, that is for you to know and understand and still love. And what I always say to people is, you loved your child for 9 months before you ever met your child. And then for 15 years, you loved that child. But then at age 15, your child comes out as gay, lesbian, or transgender and introduces themselves to you. Why would you stop loving them at that point? It's not a sexual perversion. It's not a mental problem. It's not any of those things. Because remember when women wanting to wear pants was considered a sexual perversion? Or when a white woman wanted to date an African American man, that was a sexual perversion? Or whenever a woman had any kind of thought that went against what a man said, it was female hysteria and she could be locked up by her husband or other family members. You remember when rock and roll was considered a perversion and of the devil and all these other things? Or women wanting to vote or have rights? Same thing. Look at what we've accomplished over the last 100 years and think of what we're going to be able to accomplish in the next 100 years if we don't destroy ourselves first. So I've taken up, like I was saying, going onto these forums and putting it out there. And I was on this particular forum, you know, I put all of this on there and I was like, and I hate to even make this comparison because it sets a horrible precedence, but using their thought patterns and their terminologies and everything else, I said, for the women who feel uncomfortable by this, did you never have a masculine PE teacher, girls PE teacher or coach? And did you feel uncomfortable having to dress and undress in front of said PE coach when you were in junior high and high school? Did you have your sense of moral outrage and go to your principal or go to your school district or go to your parents with the allegations of the fact that you don't like the fact that your PE instructor was masculine? I'm like, because I know for a fact in junior high and high school, the female PE teacher, she was extremely masculine. And I'm pretty sure she might have been a lesbian, but that was never broached as a topic. And even if she was, I know a lot of the girls didn't care, and they never said anything about it. Like, we all made fun of the fact that she could beat the shit out of all of us if she wanted to, because she was like this tall, strong, Amazonian-looking woman. But it was never in a derogatory way, just as an empowerment sort of way. So I posed that question. I'm like, where was your sense of moral outrage then? You know, I know that there's a lot of lesbian women who attend to the YMCA, who go to the gyms, who utilize the locker rooms. Do you ever say anything to them? Do you ever say anything to the staff? Why is it all of a sudden just because the person may or may not have a certain genitalia that you are uncomfortable with? And then I posed the question to the men. I said, for you cis straight men, what is your problem with the transgender females? Why do you have a problem of a male to female transgender? Is it because you're afraid that you will be sexually attracted to that woman and her not be a biological woman, and that would somehow question your sexuality and question your masculinity? Is this why we're questioning this? Is this why you're so pissed off about it? Like, what is your problem with it? Like, there are some there's some passable transgendered women, and there are some unpassable transgendered women. There are passable transgendered men, and not so passable transgendered women are men. So, like, what is the problem? Like, where is this affecting you? How is this directly affecting you by these people just trying to live their everyday lives? And I continued on to say some more stuff, and then I'm like, I'm not going to deal with the negative comments or the bigotry or the justification or whatever else. I'm shutting the comments to this off. I'm disabling my tagging. So I've said what I need to say. If the administrator decides to delete my comment, fine, but at least I know at the time of posting this, most of you are going to see this. So don't bother to tag me, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever you happen to have to say. Just know that I support this person. I support the YMCA, and I hope that the young lady contacts the Lambda Project, which is a nationwide LGBTQ law firm that has been dealing with stupid shit like this since the 70s and 80s. And then I tagged the Lambda Project, and I also tagged the ACLU of Washington State and the ACLU main page, and I also tagged PFLAG and a couple of other organizations that deal with stuff like this. And I said, I truthfully hope that this young woman goes and seeks legal action against the woman who has started all of this, and seeks out legal action for character defamation. And that's where I've left it. And, I'm just so shook right now about, like, how ugly these woke, accepting, like, earthy, hippie, crunchy people are turning out to be. It's like, so it's okay if you're feet in the mud, patchouli wearing, organic eating, vegan, vegetarian, and you go to drum circles and all this other stuff, and possibly be gay or lesbian, but don't be all of that plus being transgender. That's like, no, crowbar separation. So, like, stroke your beard kind of a moment here. And it's just horrible, and it sucks. And I feel for this young woman, and I feel for the other transgendered people in the community, because this is setting a horrible precedence. And I fear for the community and for these people, and my heart, my thoughts, my prayers, my whatever you want to call it, goes out to them in hopes that it doesn't go much further than what it has, and that it, as quickly as it was riled up, it dies down. I called my family members and my friends, and I talked to them about owning guns. I said, I hope you really consider purchasing a handgun. And if you need help, I will help you go and select a gun. I will help you find the concealed weapons permits that you need. I will help you go to the classes. I'll even take the classes with you if you want. I'm a gun owner, but I was raised with guns, so I haven't taken any of the gun safety and handling things because that's what we did on the weekends. We got up in the morning and we grabbed the guns. We went out to our front yard and we shot the guns. We learned how to load them. We learned how to clean them. My biological mom, the crackhead that I'm always talking about, she taught us how to sharpen knives, how to throw knives, how to like throwing stars. My dad showed us how to shoot guns and how to shoot bow and arrows and all this other stuff. That's how we were raised. And so I told my family members, I'm like, listen, I'll go to the classes with you and we'll do them together and we'll make a bonding experience out of this. About 6 or 7 months ago, I bought my family and my friends tasers. That was like their Christmas presents, was I got them tasers. I got them high-powered, high-voltage tasers, too. They were like 1 million or 2 million volts or amps or whatever the hell it is. And it looks like a flashlight. And it's USB rechargeable and all that other stuff. And for my one family member, I got them weapons that they can have in their car. I got them this long metal whip thing that as soon as you like click it, it turns into a rod and then it has a whip end on the end of it. And I showed them how to use it. And you know, I want my friends and family to be safe. And so a couple of my family members and a couple of my friends said, yeah, they really want a gun and they want to get the information. And so in the next day or so, I'm going to get all the information that they need and get them signed up for those classes. And we're going to go from there. And I know there's other people who are going to be watching this video who are anti-guns and all this other stuff, but you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not anti-gun when it comes to protecting me, protecting my property, and protecting my friends and family and loved ones. Sorry. Sorry that the schools get shot up or whatever else, but the guns don't need to be controlled. The access to mental health, the access to just getting help needs the control. We need to make it so people can go and get mental health help and not need medical insurances, not need referrals from their primary care physicians. We need to destigmatize mental health. We need to look at the people who are going to these schools and figuring out where it is that what in that situation caused them to go. We need to take it out of the media. We need to stop media coverage of these events. And that's one of the biggest things we gotta do, is take it out of the fucking news. Because what happens is people see it in the news and they're like, oh wow, they got recognition. I'm not getting recognition. I'm hurting and people don't see me. Well, I'm going to make them see me and I'm going to outdo that last person. And then they go out and cause all kinds of bloodshed and whatever else. Then the news takes it and they spin it and they work it toward the right or they work it toward the left. And we just need to shut the fuck up about it. That is one thing we need to shut the hell up about. If there's any kind of violence, if there's any kind of incidents, we need to shut up about it, because all it's doing is causing copycats. We need the access to the mental health. We need access to health care programs that are open for everyone, not just the few people, not just, this or not just that. Anyone who needs mental health or medical help should be able to walk into a facility and say, Hi, I need to see a doctor. These are my symptoms. Hi, I need to talk to somebody. I am in crisis. These are my symptoms. We do have some crisis triage for mental health, but there's still that huge stigma. And then there is the glorification of it. It has nothing to do with the violence in movies and television. Has nothing to do with the violence in video games or whatever. It has everything to do with people feeling less than and being bullied by others. Yes, I myself was bullied by everyone in my life, and still to this day, at 41 fucking years old, I still get bullied. And have I had those violent thoughts and tendencies? Yes. I have thought about harming those who have harmed me. I have retaliated against those who have harmed me. But nothing to the point where it would take their life. But we all have that little bit of, like, darkness in us. Be it our husbands telling us that we're less than, or that we're not pretty, or other women telling you that you're not pretty, or being rejected from this social situation, or this group, or that, or whatever else. We feel that that disconnect. We feel that hurt. We all carry around broken shards of who we are, and we don't understand or know who's going through what, and we don't care. And that's where we have the big disconnect, is that we no longer care about our next door neighbors, about the people in the community. It's all about me and mine, and fuck you and yours. And that's how we make America great again, is by re-establishing that sense of community and civic pride, and wanting to help other people, and knowing your neighbors. I've lived in the same house now for 13 or 14 years. I don't fucking know my neighbors. I know their names. I know them well enough to say, hey, how you doing, or whatever. But I don't know shit about them. That's not how we need to be. We should know our neighbors. We should be neighborly, but we're not. Like, think about it. Probably today, since watching this video, you've probably said fuck you to somebody multiple times. You've probably been pissed off or thought, like, about ramming your car into somebody else's car, having road rage, getting pissed off at the supermarket, whatever, more than once. And why is it? Because you feel like you've been wronged, and if you look into it even further, there's something that deep inside you, even though you may not want to admit it, you just need someone to talk to so that they can understand you, or so that you feel understood, so that you feel heard. And that's where we need to focus our energies on, is understanding and being felt like we are heard, like our feelings matter, and getting back to, like, not being coddled, but just being there for each other. Like, hey, how are you doing today? Like, I take a moment whenever I'm at the grocery store or whatever, or having any interactions with, like, people behind a desk or a podium or whatever, like, how are you today? And then they'll do the obligatory, oh, I'm good, got da-da-da-da. I'm like, no. How are you? And they'll stop and they'll look at me and they're like, huh? Like, no, seriously, how are you? How is your life today? What's going on? For the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'm here to hold space and to hear you. I'm a non-judgmental ear. I'm an unbiased person. Talk to me. Open up and talk to me. And I've had people just, like, look at me and, like, well, my mom's in the hospital dying of cancer, and I am close to losing this job, and my bills are over my head right now. I have 2 kids. School's coming up. I have no idea how I'm going to afford this, that, or the other thing. And this was an interaction that I just had with a lady at Walmart. Not this Saturday, but the prior weekend. And I just looked at her and I said, you know what, sweetheart? You're doing the best you can with what you have available to you. Don't feel like you are less than, or that you aren't doing everything that you have the ability to do. Take it one day at a time. Reconnect with your higher power, whatever that might look like to you, and just speak from your heart into the universe. Even if you're not a spiritual person, just say, you know what? This is way too much for me. My cup is overflowing. I need help. Help me to learn whatever lesson I need to learn, but ease the burden on my heart and help lighten the load. And you're going to feel so much better. And just wake up the next morning knowing that you are doing the best that you can with what you have available to you. And don't feel like you are less than because you don't have more than. And this woman started crying. I'm like, I'm sorry for making you cry. I'm sorry that you have this hurt in you. But I want you to know you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, and you are doing an amazing job. And she's like, thank you so much. And yeah, there were some people behind me, and they were getting a little upset that I was taking so long, but I didn't care. At that moment, it was me and that woman, and she just needed that reassurance that she's doing the best she can. And that's all we need sometimes, is just reassuring and taking that moment to really connect with people. And just like, how are you? That's simple. Even if you're in a shitty ass mood, you don't have to spread that hate. You don't have to spread that negativity. Be better than the last person you interacted with. So, I'm sorry about going on this tangent. There's so much more that I want to talk about, but I see that we're already at 42 minutes. So I'm going to stop here. If you have watched this far, thank you. You're freaking awesome. I love you. I hope that you're doing well. And go check out everything else. The blog, hellocupcakeitsme.com. Shoot me an email if you need to get a hold of me, hellocupcakeitsme@gmail.com. And yeah, also hit up the podcast anchor.fm/hellocupcakeitsme, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in. You have been listening to Hello Cupcake, It's Me, a podcast with your host Michael Peterson. Please make sure to check back often, as new episodes are released bi-weekly. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to send a message to hellocupcakeitsme@gmail.com. And until next time, stay happy, safe, and keep doing the best you can with what you have been given.